Yeah, and that we see that a lot, as well. And so while we're talking about stress, because I know we have a lot of moms that follow us and a lot of just like women who are just doers and we're taking care of everybody else. So we had somebody in our program, and it's funny because I think women were so used to dealing with so much. So we're like, I'm not stressed, or it's not more than the average. But
Hey, hey, rebels! Welcome to the Food Freedom Rebellion for nurturers and healers, where restriction gets the finger and real healing finally begins. We're having honest conversations about the habits, shifts, and truths that help you break up with burnout, ditch the food rules, and actually feel amazing in your body again.
We're your hosts. I'm Bonnie, herbal remedy lover, gut health rebel, and helping women decode their symptoms and heal wildly without all the boring science lectures or food fear.
And I'm Carrie, best-selling author, recovering sugar addict, and certified health coach on a mission to help women stop white-knuckling their way through wellness and finally enjoy food again. We created this podcast because we both lived through the crash and burn cycles of doing everything right and still feeling like something was wrong.
We were crashing under chronic sugar cravings, bloated, burnt out, and buried under a pile of health advice that really didn't actually help. So we teamed up to bring you the unfiltered truth, what actually works, and how to make it doable.
And each week, you're going to get real talk, rebellious tips, and permission to rewrite the rules so you can feel powerful, free, and fully at home in your body. Welcome to the rebellion. Let's dive in.
hey, rebels. Welcome back to the Food Freedom Rebellion, where restriction gets the finger, the finger we're talking about, and real healing begins. So today we're calling out a habit that really I think so many of us have, and so many people have DM'd us about nighttime snacking. Who can relate?
Nope, not that square of dark chocolate and herbal tea kind of snack. That's actually healthy for you. We're talking about kitchen crime scene. The things you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? The goldfish, the pretzels, the french fries and ice cream, the rogue frozen waffle. Where you just kind of black out and you wake up in this carb fog.
Hmm. Yeah, been in many a carb fog. But anyhow, but we're not here to guilt you, right? We are not about guilt and shame here because your body doesn't magically turn food into fat after 7 p.m. Like, let's just get that off the table. That's really what we want to dig in today. So if it's making you feel bloated or refluxy, that like terrible feeling, or if your sleep is a disaster, it is worth exploring why this is happening.
So let's break it down. So culprit one is blood sugar roller coaster.
Yeah, if your day is I ate some coffee, a banana, and a granola bar, and it's 11. Ooh. And then I maybe have a sandwich at 1, lived like this forever, and then you're, like, white knuckling, like, just trying to make it to dinner without eating, and then you eat a little whatever for dinner, and at 9 o'clock, your blood sugar is throwing a tantrum, right? It's like, "Get me to the cookie aisle, I need food right now."
Absolutely. We had a client, we'll call her Sarah, and she thought she was just addicted to sugar at night. She would get to the end of the day and all she craved was the snack. She wanted sugar, the brownies, the cookies. You know what we're talking about. Girl was running on 20 grams of protein total before dinner. No joke, you guys. That is running on fumes, not fuel.
Yeah, and this is biology, like, this is what we talk to people about. So let's talk about blood sugar quickly because we talk about it in a lot of our classes. So, depending on what we eat, it is broken down quickly or slowly, right? If you are eating, we tell our people all the time, protein and fiber at every meal because those things break down slower. And when it's broken down slower, it has less of an effect on our blood sugar. But if I'm eating a banana for breakfast, I love bananas, but if that's all I'm eating, right, I'm not having any protein or any healthy fat with that. Let's go further and say protein, fiber, and healthy fat at every meal. But if I'm just having a banana and it's broken down, my blood sugar goes up, insulin comes in quickly and lowers it quickly. And then we're starving. We're in like that angry mode. So when our blood sugar is low and dips like that, our brain hits survival mode. Our brain is to keep us alive, right? It might be inconvenient for the things we're doing when it's giving us certain signals, but It's going to send out like we need fuel, and fuel is mostly carbohydrates. We need energy. Our blood sugar is low. And so it's going to send a signal for carbohydrates. And if you've created a habit of this, which we're going to dig into, you're going to be looking at cookies or crackers or chips, things that break down very, very quickly, right? So it's not bad behavior. It's your body trying to keep you alive, or brain sending the signal. We need carbohydrates to survive.
So now let's talk about culprit number 2, hormone miscommunication. We have ghrelin and we have leptin. One says eat, one says, no, we're good, dude. We don't need anything more, right? But without enough protein and fiber, ghrelin is not going to shut up, you guys. Those hunger signals that you get, it's this little ghrelin in your body going, we're hungry, we're hungry, you're hungry. Leptin cannot get a word in edgewise. And it's because your body's just not getting what it actually needs, not getting the nutrients that it needs.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing that we talk about with our clients. So speaking of clients, we'll call her Jess. This also happened. She thought she was eating healthy, right? And so we dug in. What exactly was she eating? I'm having a smoothie, but what is in the smoothie? And it was some fruit, some almond milk, maybe a sprinkle of chia seeds. Like, definitely not enough protein. It was pretty much a sugar bomb because she didn't have enough fat and protein in there, and her blood sugar was spiking. So here she is having something that she thinks is healthy, and then at 3 o'clock, she's crashing, and we're blaming it on all these other things. And it's really just she wasn't getting the nutrients that she needs, and her blood sugar was dipping. So if by 3 o'clock you're having issues, by 8 o'clock, her body's still trying to play catch up. And so it's sending, again, out the signal for food.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so many people think, I'm just going to put this little snippet in there. So many people think that almond milk, oat milk, cashew milk, coconut milk, you think that there's the protein from the food. There isn't. The way that you make those milks is you actually infuse it and then you press it out. You don't get those protein molecules in your almond milk. So while a smoothie with fruit, almond milk, and a sprinkle of chia sounds like a lot of protein, it's not. It really is not. And if you don't believe me, look at your milk jug and tell me. So on that note, we're going to move on to culprit number 3. This is
Hey, it's Carrie, and yep, Bonnie's here too.
Always. And listen, if food rules make you want to scream into your salad pretending to be a Buddha bowl, we got to talk.
Our Food Freedom Fast Track is a 5-day crash course to ditch cravings, make healthier choices, and finally feel normal around food again.
No more starting over every Monday. No more I'll be good tomorrow. Just 5 days to flip the script and feel amazing in your body.
Yeah, you're going to learn how to eat what you love without the guilt. And it's only $27. Real, raw, and ridiculously doable.
So grab the link in the show notes and let's kickstart a brand new perspective where you're actually the boss of your own plate. Now, let's get back to today's episode.
3. This is one that many of us can relate to: stress and cortisol. If you go all day, your cortisol stays high. And that hormone, it doesn't just keep you alert. It also says, hey, we're still in danger. We need more food here. And that 3 a.m. wake up call, that 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning where you wake up and you can't go back to sleep. It's not just perimenopause. It's not just menopause. It's not just, oh, I got kids. They're waking me up. Your cortisol spikes during that time. Your cortisol, if it spikes too much, it's because you didn't eat enough throughout the day.
Yeah, and that we see that a lot as well. And so while we're talking about stress, because I know we have a lot of moms that follow us and a lot of just like women who are just doers and we're taking care of everybody else. So we had somebody in our program, and it's funny because I think women were so used to dealing with so much. So we're like, I'm not stressed, or it's not more than the average. But we actually were like, okay, well, you need to map out your day. Like, let's see what you're doing during the day. So she has 3 kids under 6. Right? She wasn't getting any breaks. And until she mapped that out, and you don't need to do this for 7 days. Like, within a day, she could see she had no time for herself. So it was clear her body didn't want food. It was showing up as signals for food, but what her body wanted was nervous system relief. And sometimes we connect that of food to an emotion, which can be relaxing or feeling less stress. So sometimes food is the only off switch to stress that we have.
So, your final culprit is your gut circadian rhythm. And yeah, our digestive system, our entire gut, there is a bedtime for that as well. And, I'm not talking about you have to eat before 7 p.m. Remember, we got rid of that one.
Thank you.
If, if, if you're having issues, that's not what we're talking about here.
Yeah. And so I love picking Bonnie's brain about gut and what she talks about. But like during the day, our digestion's working. She's working, but at night it really needs to slow down because your gut needs to repair, your liver needs to detox. So eating late, and this is all personalized, right? It's like you're getting the janitor back in to like during off hours, like, hey, we need you to keep working. Like there's no calm, there's no anything, right? And then your sleep is affected and we get stuck in this cycle of stress and not sleeping and it just becomes a whole thing. So yeah, we don't want any of that. So as you're thinking, okay, well, what do we do about this? Like, so this is what we talk about with our ladies. We just, I always am like, just pause, right? So think about your last few nights. You're like, how does this show up? Did you snack after dinner? Did you snack right before bed? If you did, what did you reach for? What was that snack? I love when people are like, I just like salty stuff. Well, if it's potato chip, it's breaking down into sugar. We should do a whole podcast on that. But what's happening what's happening right before you reach for that snack? Are you hungry or are you just craving something else, a reward or it's just a habit?
Yeah. And jot it down, you guys. You cannot lie to yourself. Our brains love to lie to us. They're just trying to protect us, but they're going to do anything and everything that they can to protect us. And when you put it down in black and white, you can't lie to yourself. You see what is really happening. And really, it's your first clue to solve whatever's going on with your nighttime snacking mystery.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, biology is a big piece of it, but habit and emotions are like sneaky co-stars, and that's why we talk about emotional eating quite a bit.
Absolutely. We call it transition snacking. You're shifting from chaos mode to chill mode, and your food really becomes that bridge.
So or we call it or could call it entertainment snacking. Oh my gosh, so guilty of this. You sit down, you're watching Netflix, it's your way to unwind. Your hands need something to do because we're so used to doing it. And so the next thing you know, your whole bowl of popcorn is gone.
And none of it makes you bad. We don't talk good and bad. There's no such thing. We're just human beings. And if you don't love how that feels, then it's time to disconnect evening from automatic eating. Disconnect those emotions. And it's not always easy to do on your own. It's why we've incorporated so much of it into our programs.
How are we gonna figure this out? So we have a 3-step challenge to calm the chaos. We're all living chaotic lives, right? So one, set a kitchen close time. Like you're just like, I'm just not eating past this. The kitchen's closed. You go to the restaurant, they ain't serving anymore, right? 2 hours before bed is a good time, but you'll have to adjust and see how that works for you. But start with 2 hours before bed. That's step one. Step two, as we talked about, really when you are building your meals, make sure they have protein, healthy fat, and fiber and color on your plate. We talk a lot about fiber, and it just reminds me of like everyone who's growing up, and my grandma was on like a heart healthy diet, and so she was eating Cheerios. We're talking about fiber that is in fruits and vegetables. So put some color on your plate. Okay, so that's two. And then three is hydrate early. It's just easier, especially for me. Like I need to stop drinking water or anything at a certain time so that I can sleep well. But also if I'm hydrated, then I'm not hungry. Like for me, when I'm hydrated, sometimes that shows up as hunger. And I'll argue with people about this all day long, but that's how it shows up for me.
It's actually how it shows up for a lot of people is it shows up as hunger, but it doesn't just show up as hunger. it can show up as a sugar craving. Like, I've heard from a lot of our people that, um, their sugar cravings are gone because now they feel hydrated, and they didn't understand, they didn't realize that they were connected. So if you're still having those hunger signals, um, even as you're going through and you're doing each one of these steps for our challenge this week, try this. All right. These are very nervous system supporting swaps. We work with nervous system here because 9 times out of 10, that's really the root of everything that we're dealing with. Anything and everything in our lives that are causing us to overeat, to um, eat things and snack and not get enough protein in, not get the things that we need in so that, bedtime comes and now here we are. we we want a snack because we didn't get it all in. That all really comes down to your nervous system. So, just a couple of things. First is peppermint tea. It helps your digestion wind down. Peppermint tea is really one of the superpowers when it comes to digestion. But in the evening, sipping a warm cup of peppermint tea, and I know you guys, it is summer in Texas, and you're all probably like, no, room temperature counts. Okay. And then magnesium. If you can get a magnesium supplement, taking it in the evening relaxes your muscles and calms your brain. If you're having a lot of stress during the day, you take it in the morning. Okay. And if your sleep is affected and your stress is up during the day, split it. You could even do a drink. There's several drinks out there. There's one, what is that? The mushroom, the hot chocolate is out there. There's the calm and a couple of the other. Oh, I can't think of the one that I really like though. I haven't had it in a long time. I don't see it in Texas. I have to actually order it online.
Oh, yeah.
Which I mean, you know, it's one of those things. But if you're struggling, then magnesium is a great way to manage your stress overnight and really will help you long term with the nighttime snacking. And here's something else for you to do. Put your tush up against the wall, literally butt to wall, you guys. What I tell the boys, seat to seat, except your seat's going to be the wall. Legs go straight up. You are facing the ceiling. You're laying down on the ground and just sit there. Do some deep breaths. Do some deep breathing. It slows your heart rate. It lowers your cortisol. And there is some science that comes into play with your legs going up the wall. There are reasons for this. So if you think I'm batshit crazy, just try it. Try it for a couple nights. See what happens. And then a warm shower. This actually helps me. So a lot of times in the morning, it is so chaotic around here that me actually getting a shower in the morning to get ready, it's ridiculous. So I started taking my showers at night. The boys are in bed. I can relax. And a warm shower will actually lower your core temperature for better sleep.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh. Yeah. All the menopause ladies were just like,
Yeah.
yeah, talking to me. Okay, so let's talk about a little bonus move. So there are some times that you really just truly are hungry after dinner. Okay. We don't want to just pretend like that's not happening and it's all emotional because sometimes it's not. And as we teach our ladies to kind of tune into their own body, they can tell the difference. But if you are really hungry after dinner, it's because you did not get enough fuel, enough nutrients earlier in the day. It just shows up as that. Maybe you just didn't eat enough, or maybe you just didn't eat enough of the right things. So for the next couple of days, we'd like you to try to get 20 grams of protein at breakfast and lunch. What does that look like? Because we talk about grams of protein and sometimes people are like, oh my God, right? So a cup of Greek yogurt has 20 grams of protein. You could have an omelet, 2 to 3 egg omelet with some veggies and cheese in there. You will hit 20 grams of protein. How about just some oats with peanut butter and banana? Or you could add protein powder to it. Or chia seed pudding. Okay? If you make the serving size of chia seed pudding. So simple ways to get that in and do that for 3 days. If you did that at breakfast and lunch, and then you can see how you're feeling at dinner or really see, how do I feel after dinner? Do I have any cravings? Maybe you got all the nutrients that you need.
It's crazy how quickly it happens with our ladies, especially the ones that come to us. And when we look at their log, we only ask for 2 to 3 days, but when we actually sit down and look at it, walk through it with them, 9 times out of 10, they're just not eating enough during the day. And once they start adding that in, it's usually 2, 3 days in, and we get a text message that tells us that they're sleeping better, or they
Yeah.
didn't they didn't experience that lull about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We even had one chick who wanted to know where it went. So, you know, adding the 20 grams of protein in sounds more overwhelming to some people than it actually is. It's really not that bad. Um,
Yeah.
so let's talk about myths. We're going to bust a couple of myths today. Myth number one is that eating late automatically equals weight gain. Not true. It's a pattern. It's not a clock. Our bodies don't understand 24-hour time periods. The thing with this myth is this: for a lot of people, it can be habit. For many others, it's you're not eating enough during the day, so you're still hungry. So your body still wants food, but it's craving the wrong kinds of food. There actually is also science that proves that eating a snack that's high protein and has some healthy fiber in it, helps with insulin resistance. So, in a lot of cases, if you're struggling with insulin resistance, eating a bedtime snack, and we're talking about 150 calories, you guys, like we're not talking big old meal, 150 calories about half an hour to 45 minutes before you go to bed can actually help you sleep. What we're talking about today is the late night snacking that's unhealthy.
Yeah, and that's such a great point because for me, I do better just like you said, with 45 minutes before I go to bed, if I have a protein-rich snack that has some fiber in it, it helps me sleep longer, because I just with my blood sugar and all that, it just works better. So it's seeing what works for you, and it's a healthy, it's a healthy snack, so we love busting myths. So let's do another one. You don't need more willpower, or you've heard me say it so many times, like, no, girl, no. This is biology, as we've been talking about. This is a habit that has been created, and habits can be changed, but it is not moral failure. You are not a bad person. You do not need more willpower.
Do we need a neon sign to tell you this? We can probably find one. I'm pretty good at the artsy, crafty things. We probably run. And there's good news, you guys. When you fuel up and when you give your nervous system other ways to chill out, other ways to manage stress, and you fuel your body with the nutrients that it needs, with enough nutrients, with enough protein, with enough fiber, you make the healthier choices and you actually fuel your body and hydrate your body well, then the cravings, they really do fade off by themselves.
Sounds simple, right? Yeah. Notice we didn't say willpower. Anyway, we're gonna make t-shirts with that, I think. Rebels, no willpower. So anyway, rebels, let's talk about your homework. Really do think about what is your kitchen close time, right? And if you have to go past that, it's because you're having something healthy that is helping you sleep. Okay. So we don't want to turn this into a guilt shame thing either. You're going to have to play around with this, but start with a time. Pick a time. Start with that. And then eat like you mean it during the day. Make sure you are getting, does every meal contain protein, healthy fat, fiber? You don't even need to count all the grams. Just does it have those components? Start there. And you can go from there. And then you can track your craving with curiosity, right? Not criticism. We're not beating ourselves up. We're simply like, why is this happening at this time? Why am I crashing at 3 o'clock? Why do I need a coffee? A shoot for me, it wasn't good coffee. It was all the sugar that was in the coffee that I needed at 3. But why is that happening?
Because here's the very last thing we want to leave you with is when your body's needs are met, your pantry stops calling your name. It's very simple. Even though it sounds very complex in our brains to get rid of this nighttime snacking, you don't have to do a million things. It's not going to take a million things. Do your homework, give it a couple of days, really commit to taking care of yourselves, and you'll be amazed how loud and how freeing something like this can taste. So that's all for today. We will see you inside the rebellion. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If this episode made you laugh, nod, or say, damn, that's me, Hit subscribe so you never miss a rebellious dose of real talk and gut wisdom.
And check out the show notes for links to our free community, upcoming workshops, and more ways to rise inside the rebellion. All right, Rebels, that's all for now. We'll catch you next time on the Food Freedom Rebellion.